since we built the interstate highway system and the space race decades ago. In fact, it's the largest American jobs investment since World War II. It's big, yes. It's bold, yes. And we can get it done.
That was President Biden last week pushing legislation that could end up defining his presidency. And joining us now, members of the Foreign Relations and Appropriations Committees, Democratic Senator Chris Coons of Delaware. Senator Coons, thank you so much for getting up early on this Monday. I really appreciate it, especially after the holiday weekend. So thank you for being here. And unfortunately, we have to start off with what happened on Friday and yet another attack on the building where you have worked for a long time, where we often see each other in the hallways, and all of these questions about whether the Capitol has really become a target in a way that it hasn't been in the past. What do you think needs to be done to secure the building, considering that reality? Does it change how you view whether we need a more secure fence or some other way of making sure that the Capitol Police Force is able to stay safe?
Good morning, Kasie. It's great to be on with you, and I appreciate the opportunity to be up way too early and to be talking about important issues like the security of the Capitol. Look, I've long been conscious as I commute to the Capitol from Delaware regularly that I commute to and work in a place that is one of the top terrorist targets in the world. For much of the time I've been serving there, the last decade, I've assumed that it was a place that international terrorists might target again someday. Just in the last year, it's become a place that I'm more and more concerned is a priority for domestic terrorists. And Friday, we saw another tragic loss of life by the U.S. Capitol Police, and they deserve our attention, our investment, our priority in making sure that they are as well supported, as well coordinated with intelligence and resources as they possibly can be. I recognize that the Capitol is also an important symbol of democracy, not just here within the United States, but globally. And so to have it ringed with a high impenetrable chain link fence covered with barbed wire was not a good look or feel for the last 3 months since the January 6th insurrection. I have a lot of confidence in Senator Amy Klobuchar and the Rules Committee, which are working through different proposals for how we can strengthen the perimeter of the Capitol and strengthen the operations of the Capitol Police without losing the openness, the accessibility that's so important to the Capitol. But for now, I think we have to put security first and plan in a thorough and diligent way what we're going to do going forward to still make it accessible to the American people while keeping the officers and the many people who serve there safe.
Can you reassure Capitol Police officers that they're going to have the money and the resources to do their jobs? The union head was out with a statement over the weekend saying that they're 233 officers short of where they need to be, that young officers are coming up and saying they're looking for different opportunities, that many people are going to be retiring. What can you say to them about what resources you, as members of Congress, are going to commit to them?
As a member of the Appropriations Committee, I would commit to robust funding for the security of the Capitol because, frankly, we need experienced, seasoned law enforcement officers working at the Capitol. It's a difficult job because it's so open, because there's so many people coming in and out. And yet you have to remain vigilant. So I think we need to invest in having the highest quality and best trained police force possible for this important building in our nation.
Let's talk policy here for a second. The president's infrastructure plan. The White House is still seeming to suggest that they think they might get some bipartisan support for some of this. I'll be honest with you, having seen what's happened the last year, I am seriously skeptical that that's possible. Do you think there's going to be a Republican who votes for this plan when it comes to the floor of the Senate?
Kasie, I don't think there will be a Republican who votes for a $2 trillion plan that does a wide range of things and also raises taxes. I do think there are Republicans who would vote for pieces of this plan. So if in the next few weeks we diligently work to put forward a piece of this plan that addresses, for example, water, clean water, wastewater, infrastructure like broadband, perhaps even some of the more expensive pieces like roads and bridges and tunnels and airports, we can get bipartisan support for that. But the boldness, the sweep and scope of what President Biden has put forward as a framework that includes a lot of forward-looking investment, not just in electric vehicles and charging stations, but in climate resiliency, I don't think we're going to see Republican support for that. So my caucus has a simple choice to make. Do we invest time over the next couple of weeks in trying to negotiate a bipartisan piece first, and then by reconciliation do the bolder and bigger things, or do we just put it all into one big package and move? My hunch is we will try seriously the former. That's what I'm going to be doing, is continuing to talk to Republican colleagues about what they're willing to work with us on. But as we saw with the American Rescue Plan, which has already delivered an enormous amount of badly needed help to Americans in every state and territory, President Biden is insistent that we move. So we're not going to wait for months and months. We're going to negotiate as best we can, I think, between now and at most Memorial Day. And then we're going to move ahead with what's possible.
So, Senator, do you think you're going to get permission to use this procedural maneuver, reconciliation, additional times? Right now, if you move with this infrastructure plan, as you outline, you use reconciliation. That's your last chance before the midterm elections. Do you think that the parliamentarian is going to let you do it again? So you'll have another bill in 2022 that you could pass with just the 50 Democrats you have?
To be clear, there's an effort that Senator Schumer's making to get yet another opportunity. I do think we'll have another chance next year. But I think whether or not we'll have several more chances, which is part of an obscure parliamentary interpretation, I have no idea. The parliamentarian is probably now the best newly known official in the Senate who folks watching didn't know existed 6 weeks ago. And it's up to Elizabeth. She's going to have to make a hard judgment call about, given the history of the bill and its previous use, whether or not we can amend the Reconciliation Act we've already passed. I certainly hope so, because I think we need to continue to make progress. President Biden was elected with the most votes of any elected president in modern history, period. Because of the crisis we're in, and we are making dramatic progress towards ending this pandemic. Here in our state of Delaware, Governor Carney's doing a strong job. He's just announced that this week, every Delawarean over 16 will be eligible to get vaccinated. 500,000 Delawareans have been vaccinated out of 900,000, and we're making strong progress across the country, vaccinating 4 million people in a day just in the last few days.
All right. Senator Chris Coons, thank you so much for being up early with us. We really appreciate your perspective today. So thank you. And I'm sure I'll see you soon. And